Welcome to Bible Truth Diggers. Today, we are uncovering a tale that will shake the very foundations of the story we thought we knew. Imagine being trapped in darkness your entire life. Not the kind that comes with a power outage or when the night settles in, but a darkness that clings to you from birth. A darkness that isolates you, mocks you, and leaves you invisible to the world around you. That was his life. Until the day he encountered someone who could do the impossible. But this wasn't just any miracle. It was a confrontation between light and darkness, hope and despair, belief and doubt. And in the end, the blind man wasn't the only one who began to see. But before we dive fully in, if this is your first time of checking out the channel, please subscribe, like, and share our videos to spread the hidden truth with others. He had never seen the light of day, never watched a sunrise, never glimpsed his own reflection. From birth, darkness was his only companion. In his world, blindness wasn't just a condition, it was a curse, a sign, they said, of hidden sin, a punishment from God. But one day, our Lord Jesus crossed his path. And what happened next didn't just open his eyes, it turned his entire world around. The blind beggar, sitting near the gates. For years, he'd been a fixture on this street. People passed him daily. Most ignored him, avoiding his sightless gaze. Others whispered as they walked by, whose sin caused this? Was it his parents, or was it him? That was the question everyone asked, but no one answered. To them, he was a man marked by God, his blindness proof of divine judgment. But for the blind man, it was simply life, a world without light, color, or hope. Until that day, as Jesus passed by, his disciples pointed at the blind man. They didn't ask about his suffering or his needs. Instead, they asked a theological question. Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? The blind man, though unable to see them, felt the weight of their judgment. It was the story of his life. Accusations, pity, and stares. But Jesus didn't answer like everyone else. Neither this man nor his parents sinned, Jesus replied. This happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. It wasn't punishment, Jesus said. It was purpose. For the first time, someone looked at the blind man and saw potential instead of pain. Then, without warning, Jesus did something that left everyone stunned. He spit on the ground, scooped up the dirt, and made mud. The blind man flinched as Jesus gently smeared the mud over his eyes. The crowd murmured in confusion. What was he doing? Healing with mud? Go, Jesus told him. Wash in the pool of Siloam. The blind man hesitated. Mud on his eyes? Water to wash? None of it made sense. But something about Jesus' voice stirred hope within him. And so, he obeyed. He reached the pool and knelt by its edge. His hands dipped into the cool water, splashing it over his face. And then, it happened. The mud washed away, and with it, a lifetime of darkness. For the first time, he saw light, colors, shapes, faces, his own reflection. The world around him exploded into view. Overwhelmed, he gasped, tears mixing with the water. He could see. He was no longer the blind man. Back in the marketplace, chaos erupted. People pointed, whispered, and stared. "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?" someone asked. "It can't be," another replied. "He just looks like him." But the man spoke up, his voice strong and clear. "I am that man." The crowd pressed in, demanding answers. "How were your eyes opened?" they asked. He told them, simply and boldly. "The man they called Jesus made mud, put it on my eyes, and told me to wash. And now I see." The crowd was amazed, but not everyone believed. The Pharisees weren't thrilled by the news. A miracle on the Sabbath? That wasn't just unusual, it was unlawful in their eyes. They interrogated the man. "How did he heal you?" they demanded. The man explained everything. But instead of wonder, the Pharisees responded with anger. Some claimed Jesus was a sinner for breaking the Sabbath. Others were conflicted. "How can a sinner perform such signs?" they argued. Caught in their disbelief, they turned to the man's parents for answers. The Pharisees questioned the parents. "Is this your son? Was he really born blind? How is it that he can see now?" Terrified, they hesitated. The Pharisees had the power to cast them out of the synagogue, and everyone knew it. "He is our son," they said finally. "And yes, he was born blind. But how he can see now, we don't know. Ask him. He's of age." Their fear was palpable. But the man himself wasn't afraid. The Pharisees called him back for more questioning. They grilled him again. "What do you say about this man who healed you?" "He is a prophet," the man replied without hesitation. The Pharisees grew angrier. "We know this man, Jesus, is a sinner," they shouted. But the man stood firm. "Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know. I was blind, and now I see." His words struck like lightning. The truth was undeniable, yet the Pharisees refused to accept it. In their frustration, they threw him out. Jesus found the man again. Gently, he asked, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" The man, his heart full of gratitude, replied, "Who is he, sir, that I may believe in him?" Jesus smiled. "You have now seen him. He is the one speaking with you." Tears filled the man's newly opened eyes. He fell to his knees and said, "Lord, I believe." In that moment, he saw more than the world. He saw eternity. This story isn't just about physical blindness. It's about spiritual blindness. How often do we live in darkness, clinging to our pride, fear, or disbelief? Jesus didn't just heal the man's eyes. He opened his heart to the truth. The light of the world stepped into his darkness and transformed it forever. And he can do the same for you. The question is, will you let him? Jesus is still opening eyes today, physically and spiritually. If you're in darkness, take a step of faith. Let him bring his light into your life.